Alright, this is probably the last thing we'll cover today. So, Razorfist has a new video called Body Bags for Black Pills, a rant. This is from 2 days ago. I assume this is him basically saying, all you people who are saying the election is over, how dare you? How dare you talk about reality as it stands? I'm gonna be mad about it. So let's see what he has to say.
Many a Galaxy Brain Turbo take has been proffered in the past week, but among the worst is the argument that even if the election was stolen, we should just move on, because at least that way, we might get to keep the Senate.
I've never heard anyone make that argument because the election wasn't stolen. You lost. I know you're really mad about it, and you're about to say a lot of angry words very quickly because you think that makes you seem more legitimate.
There's nothing funny
but
about
no,
the tools of
Donald Trump lost the election. That's why you should accept it, because he lost fair and square, not because of any other bullshit. I don't even know who you're hearing that shit from. Dakota Live, thank you for, or sorry, Dotaku Live, thank you for subscribing.
It's the only psyop you can spot from space, and when Neil, the bullshit merchant of Venice, Bortz is offering it up, you know it's capital BS. Time now for Republicans in Congress to get off their ass.
I don't even know who Neil Bortz is. Let me look. Neil, what is this? Bortz. American author. Neil Bortz is an American author, former attorney, and former conservative radio host. His nationally syndicated talk show, The Neil Bortz Show, which ended in 2013, was carried throughout the United States. Attorney, 43-year-old talk show host, U.S. and Georgia Radio Hall of Fame, #1, New York Times bestselling author, rude and offensive podcast. So what, he's saying something along the lines of you should just accept that Trump won, or Trump lost, because Trump did lose? Sure. Let's see what he says on this. Time now for Republicans in Congress to get off their asses and repudiate Trump's actions. America is going to depend on a GOP House and Senate to preserve liberty. Ain't gonna happen if they don't stand up now. So this person, while I disagree with them politically, is making a reasonable position here. They're saying people in the Senate and the House need to stand up and speak against Trump behaving like a big man baby because he's kind of hurting what the Republican reputation right now. Those same GOP House and Senate people are going to have to govern for the next, 2 years at the very least. So they should be able to stand up now and say, hey, this is your lame duck session. You lost. Deal with it, right? Instead of caving into this tantrum that Trump is throwing. That's a reasonable position.
Nothing funny about the tools
of course, reasonability is not allowed in the Republican Party now. So here we have Razorfist shit-talking him. Maria3585, thank you for subscribing, and Title Bell with 20 bits. Hey, Hannah, how's your day going? Did you see this? It's Chef Kiss Delicious. Let me look. Holy Kool-Aid, after Trump loses the election, evangelicals go nuts, pastors and prophets incorrectly prophesized Trump would win the election and got a second term. When Trump prophecies failed, the evangelicals, some of whom sit on Trump's Evangelical Advisory Committee. Trump has an Evangelical Advisory Committee? That's gross. Absolute ballistic meltdown, going into denial. I have seen some of this.
Their voting day, whatever it takes under your kingdom, oh God, to bring it all in line.
Jalen Jean, you put too much work into this typing for me to not read it. Magabama, Magalaska, Magazona, and Markansas, Magafornia, Magarado, Magakit, Magaware, Magarda, it goes on like that. That's pretty amazing. Good job.
Bring it all in line. Bring it all in line with the will of God. Strike and 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 strike until you have victory. For every enemy that is aligned against you, let there be that we would strike.
Maybe we'll watch this after we do the Razorfist thing. If not, I'll save it for next Chud Watch.
and repudiate Trump's actions, America's gonna depend on a
Something laugh at
GOP
after
House
the
and
stream.
Senate
Hope you
to
enjoy.
preserve liberty. Ain't gonna happen if they don't stand up now. Hey, thanks for laying that 11D chess on me. But quick question, Professor Frink. If you tell the, around 51% of the electorate who in a recent poll described the election results as profoundly fucking fishy, that their vote didn't matter enough to investigate this time, and the nearly 100
Razorfist, there already have been investigations, there have been many court cases, there have been recounts, there's been audits. No irregularities have been found, even the Trump campaign themselves haven't alleged fraud in court because there's no evidence of it. So I understand that our Republicans who've been taken in by Trump's BS about fraud, I know they feel a certain way about it, but as it turns out, Ben Shapiro, I think, said this, facts don't care about your feelings, and if you feel that you've been disenfranchised even though you haven't, I'm sorry you feel that way, I really do, but your feelings are inaccurate. There's been no fraud. The Trump campaign themselves haven't even alleged that in court because there's no evidence. So maybe get your feelings in check and rejoin the rest of us in reality.
100% of registered Republicans who believe it's an outright fraud? Who the lemon fresh fuck is gonna ride to your rescue in the runoff? The winged hussars? It sure as shit won't be the Republican voters, champ.
Wouldn't it be beautiful if Donald Trump, throwing this tantrum and Republicans just completely ignoring it like the spineless bitches they are, completely fucked up their Georgia runoff stuff, and the Democrats ended up with slight control in the Senate because of it? Because if we won both the Georgia runoffs, then I think it would be 50-50, and then Kamala Harris would be the tie-breaking vote. So that'd be fun.
Biden benefits from the only voting bloc that's closer to the grave than he is. What mere mortals would be willing to push a...
What are you talking about? Young people favor Joe Biden. What? Are we just saying lies now? But as long as we say them very quickly, then no one will call me out.
bra swap button for you cunts, let alone traverse their own cities to cast a vote for a venal shitbag who told them their vote ain't worth a bead of brow sweat to ascertain the election's actual fucking validity. Decades upon ass-pounding decades of sad sack pseudocons is what gave you Donald Trump, and your only answer now is act more like the sad sack pseudocons? Here's my counteroffer, you cunt. If you throw my vote out, I throw your fucking party out with it.
Your vote hasn't been thrown out. Your vote was counted, Razorfist. It just turns out more people voted for the guy you didn't vote for. Losing an election isn't having your vote thrown out. It's losing an election. How many elections have you even voted in if this is how you view elections? Jesus Christ. Tired Park with 40 bits. Support those runoff campaigns. Phone bank and donate to Fair Fight. Yeah. Do those things.
Understand this, Mr. Turtle in the 45th Do-Nothing Brigade. If you don't fight here, if you go quietly or continue to sidestep away from the candidate that made you momentarily relevant the past 4 years, you sell my vote down the river in the name of establishment exigence. The moment the sound waves from that fucking gavel reach my ear holes at the commencement of you floppy-jowled fuckbags returning to business as usual in mid-January, we break into the Bush family mausoleum, give H-Dub a titty twister, and install a rotisserie in John McCain's coffin, because he'll fucking need it for the reckoning to come.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
He gets so mad. It's his whole persona, and it's kind of delicious. Harry K5 with 20 bits. All the MAGA copers saying they won't vote for the GOP if they don't fight is hilarious, and I would be laughing if both Georgia seats are taken because of it. I don't think it'll make a difference. I wish it did. I'm right there with you in wishing it did, but I don't think it'll make a difference. I genuinely think the hardcore Trump supporters who support Trump over the Republican Party in general, I think they're loud, but I don't think there's as many as we might think. I would say they probably make up about 30% of the Republican Party. I don't even know if they'll stay home, like in Georgia, because they're mad or something. I don't think that's the case. I think Donald Trump will get behind the Georgia runoff campaigns and rally for the Republicans there. And I think they'll vote for them. We'll see what happens. Title Bell with 20 bits. I'm not saying this guy is a douche. I'm just going to point out he's wearing sunglasses indoors. All all of you all of you do with that information what you will. He is. It's his persona. It's what he does.
If you think Trump calling McCain the coward collaborator and fake fucking war hero he was stiff, bitch, he was the buffer between you and a citizenry who wouldn't piss on his backstabbing Politico corpse to extinguish a fire. Trump wasn't merely the roadblock between the establishment and their globo-collectivist endgame. He was also the firewall between the establishment and
calling Republicans...
Anything but inspect this temple of capitalism.
Oh, Bad Bunny. Hey, thank you. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. We are watching angry MAGA people deal with the election. So welcome. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a good stream.
fucking us. This ain't...
Everyone here, by the way, if you haven't, go check out Bad Bunny. Can someone, one of the mods, can you post maybe a link to Bad Bunny's Twitch channel in the chat? Thanks.
Incitement either, it's a warning. Putting aside the fact that our country is more on edge than Alex Jones watching a 24-hour loop of Red Dawn while freebasing diet pills and pixie sticks.
My superpower is being honest. I'll eat your ass. I will.
There's nothing funny about the tools
Combat
of capitalism.
Vic the Victim, thank you for gifting a sub.
model. Optimum self-sufficiency.
Probably the leader.
Self-governing democracies, without exception, fail to fucking survive without provably legitimate elections. And while Democrats on the surface appear to regard the instances of voter fraud to be so minor Biden is currently leaning in to sniff them, behind closed doors, in private,
Hello, Bad Bunny.
I find they'll confidentially
stream
admit the
went
totals
well.
in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Georgia are
Necro,
sketchier than life
Jay-Z,
drawing
thank
with
you for
Michael
gifting
J.
5 tier 1
Fox.
subs.
About 5 seconds before they even more loudly concede they don't give a flock of flying fucks. I warned you all that thanks to the heightened, stratified socialist rhetoric of Antifa,
Who's the former high school fedora wearer you were watching? This guy on YouTube, his channel goes by the Rageaholic, but he used to go by Razorfist. I think he still goes by that. The channel is the Rageaholic, but his like persona is called, you know, the Razorfist or something. Very edgy. The hats are for when I do hype trains. I put hats on, by the way, if you're wondering what's up with the weird hats.
Funny about the tools of capitalism.
So he's mad. He's basically mad that Republicans are not getting behind Donald Trump's fraud claims. Don't get me wrong, they're not actively fighting them. In fact, there are GOP members who are actively helping those fraud claims, unsubstantiated, by the way. We read the Pennsylvania lawsuit that went through the Pennsylvania Supreme Court today. We read the court ruling, and even in there, Rudy Giuliani, in those court cases, was not alleging fraud, because there's no evidence of fraud. But anyway, these people are all very mad, and they're mad that Republicans aren't giving in to Donald Trump's man-baby temper tantrum. They're certainly not stopping it. They're enabling him by doing nothing. But people like Razorfist are mad that they aren't, like, in lockstep behind Donald Trump, even though he's a loser, who's not going to have any political power in, like, a month and a half. Thank you, everyone, for following, by the way. Oh, we're on a hype train. Sweet. I'll get more hats. So, level 2 with hype train complete. Sweet. Space Kate 94, thank you for subscribing with a 7-month streak. Thanks for keeping me sane this year, Hannah. Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Let me see if there's anything else I missed. Freezer Burn with 100 bits. Choo Choo Hype Train. Miss K's with 50 bits. Freezer Burn with 100 bits. Read that one. Yeah, okay. I think I'm caught up.
and others, we were catapulting towards this fraudulent eventuality. And perk an ear, because for what it's worth, I'm warning you again. We started out at "cope harder, dude lost," promptly progressed to ever more angry assertions that Trump should just go home.
No, y'all are still coping. Let me explain. Okay, so we've been doing the cope streams. Jade Skywalker 85 with 100 bits, thank you, and Chase the Black Cat with 100 bits. Right wing tears are so yummy in my tummy. Yes, they are. They're amazing.
The tools of capitalism.
So it started with cope harder because it was funny for like the first week, and I fully admit this. Like we continue to do MAGA cope streams because they're a lot of fun, but they've progressively gotten less and less fun over the last couple weeks because it went from on, you know, the day that the election was called for Joe Biden to like, oh, haha, isn't it funny seeing these people who spent the last 4 years telling people on the left, oh, haha, cry harder, lefties, facts don't care about your feelings. All of a sudden the script was flipped and they were crying all the same. It was quite fun. Enreath, thank you for 180 bits, and WTF 4174, thank you for your tier 1 subscription. So it was funny in an ironic way, and it was a little bit of comeuppance. Everyone likes that kind of story. However, as it's continued for like a month, we're almost a month into the MAGA cope at this point, it's gotten pathetic and mostly frustrating. It's very frustrating seeing, I don't know, 30% of the American population become completely divorced from reality. It's something we've contended with for the last 4 years, but more or less we've been able to kind of avoid it when possible. We certainly have to look at Trump every day, but if you're someone on the left, you don't necessarily have to engage with these people. But the past month, the temper tantrum they've been throwing along with their orange daddy has been fucking ridiculous, and everyone has had to hear about it every single day. So why don't you just stop it and learn to take the L? There's no evidence of fraud. There just isn't. There just isn't. So get over it. Be an adult person for once. That'd be great. Skooma Addict, thank you for 100 bits. 74 Quinn 74, thank you for 50 bits. And I think that's it.
And as sure as I sit here, we will ultimately arrive at, all right, the election may have been stolen, but thank God it fucking was. Mark it down, bitch. Like Bill.
No, I don't think the election was stolen, nor does anyone who's on the left. I don't know who you're supposedly talking to on the left who thinks the election was stolen, but they would also be very stupid if they thought that. They would have to be very, very stupid to completely ignore the complete lack of evidence. Christian American, thank you for gifting 3 tier 1 subs. Marcus Drake, thank you for subscribing with a 3-month streak.
Bill Clinton at the first sign of resistance. It's coming. Folks, there may be some genuinely self-deceived sorts out there who legitimately believe Biden could pull a higher percentage of the black vote in Detroit than Obama. All fucking 5 of them. The rest are well...
People hate Donald Trump. And I feel like this is something that people like this are... He talks to Dave Rubin. That would make sense. Lord Necroj with 40 bits, level 4, y'all. People on the right, at least people who are hardcore Trump supporters, the same kind of Trump supporters that have been denying that Joe Biden won the election, and they're just flabbergasted by the fact that Joe Biden has gotten more votes than Barack Obama. I genuinely think they don't understand how much people viscerally hate Donald Trump, for good reason. Donald Trump's a huge piece of shit. Like, regardless of whether or not you agree with Republican policies, I hope you don't, if you have a brain, but, like, Donald Trump is grating every single day. Every single day, it's a new thing when Donald Trump is the president. It's a new thing to look at and go, oh, God, what's happening today? People hate Donald Trump. People not only hate him as an individual, but they hate what they've done to their lives by making them have to every day turn on the news and be horrified by another new low that we've sunk to. So people have come out to vote for Joe Biden, including myself, not because they like Joe Biden, but because they hate Donald Trump. It's very easy to understand. 74 Quinn 74 with 50 bits. Quinity hype. Ooh, the Quinity's here. Nice.
Aware of the wonkiness at play here. They just don't give a shit so long as the commander-in-Cheeto goes bye-bye in the process. And
no, and I've expressed this before. If there was evidence of actual voter fraud, I would be on the same train of like, hey, this is suspicious, and this should be stopped. Because I believe in democracy, right? I have principles, unlike a lot of people on the right. It's not about who wins, I think it's about the process being secure and correct. But there's no evidence of that. Once again, you're just ranting because you're mad Trump lost. WTF 4174, thank you for the 100 bits. Leela Duder, thank you for the 29 bits. And Stephen J. Neptune Man with 20 bits. Honestly, as much as the past 4 years have been hyper-political, 2020 was a whole other level, and that was because we saw how people's political views affected how they felt about Black Lives Matter and COVID-19. Yeah, it's been a nightmare.
And that is a dangerous indulgence among friends, let alone enemies, which by arguing my vote doesn't matter enough to at least double-check, you've made oh so many more
There have been recounts. In all the states where Trump could get a recount, he has gotten a recount. There have also been audits. No irregularities have been found.
Motherfuck stain. And in case you weren't paying attention this afternoon, the Rudy has no evidence claim died a horrific shrieking death before millions, appropriately in the town of Gettysburg, just today.
Oh, they're talking about the bullshit thing. This was a thing that happened in, I don't even remember. This is in Pennsylvania somewhere, yeah. The Republicans went and had what they called a hearing. It wasn't a hearing. It was all Republicans, and they went to a hotel to listen to Rudy talk about claims of election fraud. Meanwhile, and we read the court briefing earlier from the Supreme Court, meanwhile, Rudy is also in the actual court system of Pennsylvania, specifically saying they are not making claims of fraud to the court because they know they can't evidence this to the standard that would be necessary for a court case. But meanwhile, they're over here in this hotel room putting on a big show for these Republicans with no Democrats in attendance to question any of this, by the way, in order to try and basically make a kangaroo court where they can be like, here are allegations of fraud, hooray, believe us. It was nonsense. It was absolute nonsense, and the reason that they did this in a hotel and not under an official capacity is because if you were to hold a hearing that was actually official, then you have to be under oath. And if you lie under oath, guess what? That's perjury. But Rudy Giuliani doesn't want to do that,
That's
so
right,
hotel
propaganda.
ballroom it is. Thank you to whatever just happened. Nodat, thank you for following.
What that indicates is there is a spike in loaded votes, 337,000 plus or minus some votes that were added in there in one big batch. So
They're still making the claim that, like, oh my god, all these votes for Biden came in.
nothing
Yeah,
funny about
again,
tools
we've
of
explained the
capitalism.
mail-in voting thing. We've explained the mail-in voting thing to you guys many, many times. Donald Trump spent the entire year shit-talking mail-in voting, and then Republicans are pretending to be surprised when Democrats are the
That's
ones
right,
who have most of the
capitalistic
mail-in
propaganda.
votes. Doom Smoothie with 20 bits. Have to dip out to watch a stream for a friend of mine. Have some parting bits. Thank you for coming. Skooma Addict, thank you for 100 bits.
that was an anomaly in the reporting. Normally you would
Nothing
expect to
funny
see
about the tools of
a
capitalism.
smooth curve going up, not any big spikes. That's kind of what
That's untrue when you're counting mail-in voting in a very strange election like this one, where, again, Donald Trump told all his supporters not to
That's
vote
right,
by
capitalistic
mail.
propaganda.
what Greg was talking about, the anomalies of loading and uploading those
NetLag
votes.
USA, thank you
So
for
that
following.
big spike that
XY
occurs there
and,
is a prime indicator
Rots.
of
Thank you for
fraudulent
following.
voting.
And that's 604,000 votes. In that period.
Can we get back to Yell Guy?
The Kraken may indeed make a better... Look, I like Sidney Powell, and release the Kraken may indeed make a better bit of merchandise, but the more mundane, provable fucking fraud, the kind of wash in statistical impossibilities, timed ballot dumps, and disappearing ballot signatures, is far more nefarious.
Which is why they never argued any of this in court and why they just lost their Pennsylvania Supreme Court case, specifically due to lack of evidence.
Why try this case in the media when you could just as easily take it to the courts, you ask? Because ain't no jury gonna see this case.
Oh, is that where we've moved the goalposts to now? We didn't show you evidence in court because the courts are corrupt! Oh, okay, cool. Can anyone else see the evidence then?
That's
No?
right, capitalistic
Oh,
propaganda.
weird. Stephen J. Neptune, man, with 20 bits. This dude is like Spoonie's evil alt-right twin, right? Am I the only one who sees this? I see it. I see what you're saying. Cyanide, thank you for following.
A judge will, in most cases, an elected judge, meaning a more politically minded motherfucking judge, which in deep blue burgs like Philly and fucking Detroit means Democrats. Behind closed doors, the bitches in black robes can play Pol Pot away from prying eyes. But if you make the public aware of the evidence first, you preemptively put
They haven't put forward any evidence. All they did was look at charts and go, this seems sus, completely disregarding the fact that ballots were coming in later that were entirely mail-in votes that were going to favor Democrats. It's not sus. It's completely explained by the context of the election, but y'all are pretending that it doesn't exist because you're sad that your orange daddy lost. I know, losing an election sucks. I totally understand losing an election sucks. I voted in how many presidential elections now? 1, 2, I've only voted in 3 presidential elections in my life, but sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. And it sucks when you lose, but you get over it, right? Because you're an adult, and that's how the electoral process works. In a democracy, sometimes the things that you want happen because you vote with the majority, sometimes you don't, and you deal with that. You don't start trying to do a coup because you lost.
put the judges on fucking blast. Suddenly, they have to play the tin pot tyrant in front of rolling video cameras, and they're...
Many of the judges are Republican appointees. Some of them are Trump appointees, and they've still thrown these cases out. Marcus Drake with 100 bits. Razorfist may be an idiot, but Pennsylvania needs to stop electing its judges, to be fair. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that being an issue. I don't think elected judges sounds like the most impartial thing, but I don't know. I don't live in Pennsylvania.
Confidence turns to strict...
Although we did elect, there were judges on my ballot, so Michigan must do the same.
Constitutionalism in 5 seconds fucking flat. This is a natural consequence of the left spending half a century using the courts as a cocksock. What did I say in my stench from the bench rant, over a year ago? We can roto-root the fucking swamp, toss out the foreign infiltrators, purge lobby...
The foreign infiltrators, wow, that's revealing of his character.
...in special fucking interests. But if we fail to reckon with the corrupt courts, we lose it all anyway. Rudy Giuliani, it appears, is officially fucking aware of this fact. And given that this is the same cat who three-point tackled the New York fucking mob, may God have mercy on the fraudster's souls. But folks, he can do everything imaginable right and still lose this. We watched the media reframe Trump's audit effort as sour grapes, but the truth is, this...
Because they are? Nonetheless, he's gotten the recounts and audits that he's wanted. Found no irregularities. You're still mad. Chill out.
Ain't about Trump anymore. Trump, and even Rudy, will not save us. Only we can do that. For all the Redditard's claims to the contrary, Trump is not a dictator. He is the head of one of 3 branches of government. This is on you now, motherfuckers. There are more of us than them.
No, there aren't. That's just objectively untrue. There are fewer registered Republicans than Democrats in this country. And even in this election, more people voted for Joe Biden by a factor of, I don't know, there were, what, 6 million more votes? Even in 2016, Trump lost the popular vote. Why do Republicans think that they're the majority when literally every metric we have to measure that says that they're the minority? They're a loud minority. That's it.
So March, given that Trump got many more millions of votes and Dems use any day ending in Y as an excuse to mass protest, when we turn up in bigger crowds by a lot, the Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona fraud machines will have a hell of a lot of explaining to do.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Outside of literally violently overthrowing the government, which if you're proposing that, then you're gonna get fucking reported. Not only to YouTube, but to the FBI. But what do you think's gonna happen? There's no evidence of fraud. There hasn't been. That's why it hasn't been presented in the courts.
Take it from the guy wearing aviators indoors. Optics matter.
I look like a douchebag, so trust me.
The media can demoralize, the black pillars and bedwetters can cuck and run and wax strategic while sobbing into their shitloads of mainstream media cash. None of it changes the objective reality. They can only take it if you give it to them. I'm Razorfist. God fucking speed.
Oh, he's so cringe. Is this guy gonna do this for the rest of his life? Like, is he gonna be, 60 years old and wearing a leather jacket and pretending to be punk while simping for right-wing authoritarians? Because it's already pathetic. It's not getting any less pathetic moving forward, let's be real.